You've swapped butter for olive oil. You've added more salads. You've even started eating clean. And that belly fat is still there, like it signed a long-term lease. Here's something researchers have known for decades, but rarely explain properly. The Mediterranean diet isn't actually the main reason coastal populations in Greece, Italy, and Spain stay leaner and live longer. The food matters, sure, but the way they eat it, and the rhythm of life built around it, matters just as much, maybe more. And once again, this comes back to cortisol. Here's what most people miss entirely. The Mediterranean lifestyle wasn't designed in a lab to lower stress hormones. It evolved naturally, over centuries, around long meals, midday rest, and strong community ties. And it just so happens that every single one of those things directly regulates cortisol. Let's break down the 5 habits behind it. Step 1. The long, unhurried meal. In much of the Mediterranean, especially outside major tourist centers, meals routinely last an hour or more. Multiple courses, conversation, no rush to clear the table. And Sale Keys, the physiologist whose 7 countries study first identified the Mediterranean diet's health benefits back in the 1950s, actually noted something researchers still reference today. It wasn't just what people ate. It was that meals were social events, not fuel stops. Here's the physiological reason that matters. Rushed eating keeps your sympathetic nervous system active during digestion, and food consumed under sympathetic activation is processed less efficiently, with more of it converted to stored fat rather than used for immediate energy. A long, relaxed meal keeps you in a parasympathetic state throughout digestion, which research has linked to better insulin sensitivity and lower post-meal cortisol. So here's how you apply it. You don't need 3 courses. You need to stop treating meals as something to finish quickly. Sit down, put the fork down between bites. Let a meal take the time a meal actually takes. Step 2. Siesta, or at least, structured midday rest. In Spain, Greece, and parts of southern Italy, a pause in the middle of the day, even just 20 to 30 minutes of rest, has historically been culturally normal, not lazy. Dr. Sarah Mednick, a sleep researcher who has studied napping extensively, found that even brief midday rest significantly lowers cortisol levels for the remainder of the day compared to pushing through fatigue without a break. Here's why this matters specifically for stress hormones. Cortisol naturally has a mid-afternoon dip built into your circadian rhythm, and fighting through that dip with caffeine or sheer willpower forces your body to artificially spike cortisol to keep you alert, adding stress on top of a stress hormone that was already trying to settle. A short rest, even without sleeping, closing your eyes for 15 minutes, lying down without your phone, works with your body's natural rhythm instead of against it. Step 3. Sobremesa, the after-meal lingering. This is a Spanish concept. The time spent sitting at the table after eating is finished, talking, doing essentially nothing productive. It sounds like the opposite of efficiency, and that's precisely the point. Chronic busyness itself, the sense that you must always be doing something, has been linked in multiple studies to elevated baseline cortisol, independent of how objectively stressful your actual tasks are. Sobremesa builds in mandatory unproductive time, and unproductive time, it turns out, is exactly what a chronically activated nervous system needs to downshift. Researchers studying Mediterranean social patterns have noted that these extended, unstructured social periods correlate with lower reported stress and stronger social bonds, both of which independently buffer cortisol reactivity. Applying this doesn't require Spanish culture specifically. It means, after a meal, resisting the urge to immediately jump to the next task. Sit for 10 more minutes. Talk. Do nothing. Step 4. Daily walking as transportation, not exercise. In much of the Mediterranean, walking to the market, to a neighbor's, to a cafe, is simply how people move through their day, not a scheduled workout squeezed in before work. Research comparing incidental daily movement to structured, concentrated exercise sessions has found that frequent, low-intensity walking throughout the day produces more stable cortisol patterns than infrequent, high-intensity exercise, similar to what we've seen in other blue zone populations. The key difference is frequency without intensity. A short walk to buy bread, then another to see a friend, then another home, adds up to significant movement without ever spiking your stress response the way a single hard gym session can. Applying this means building small errands and short walks into your actual day, rather than treating movement as a separate, effortful task bolted onto an otherwise sedentary schedule. Step 5. Strong, consistent community ties. Mediterranean towns, particularly smaller ones, are built around visible, frequent social contact, small local markets, cafes where the same people show up daily, neighbors who know each other by name across generations. Dr. Robert Waldinger's Harvard study of adult development, which we've referenced before, and which remains one of the longest-running studies on human happiness, found that the strength and quality of close relationships was the single strongest predictor of both health and longevity across the entire study population, more predictive than cholesterol levels or even genetics. Consistent, low-effort social contact, seeing the same familiar faces regularly, has been shown to lower baseline cortisol simply through a sense of safety and belonging. The nervous system's read that the environment is stable and supportive. This doesn't require moving to a small Mediterranean village. It means deliberately building small, recurring points of social contact into your week. The same coffee shop, the same walking route, the same people, rather than constant novelty and isolation. So let's bring it all together. 5 habits. Slow down your meals instead of rushing them. Build in a real midday rest, even briefly. Linger after eating instead of jumping straight to the next task. Walk as part of your day, not as a separate workout. And build consistent, familiar social contact into your week. None of these require the Mediterranean diet specifically, and none of them require moving to a coastal village. They require you to slow the pace of your entire day down, just enough that your nervous system stops treating every hour like an emergency. Because belly fat isn't just about olive oil versus butter. It's about whether your body ever gets a real, consistent signal that it's safe to stop storing. If this changed the way you think about pace and rhythm, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want more science-backed cultural habits like this. And drop a comment telling me which of these 5 habits you're going to try first. I'll see you in the next one.